Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host, Andreas. Thank you so much for tuning in with me this morning. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the whole Jy Simpkin rumor mill that's come out. Pies are after him. Also wanted to touch on a slight adjustment or a confirmation to the trading rules the AFL announced yesterday. Roll the intro.
0, 1. Let's get started.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Hopper Bros Barbecue. For all your tips and tricks and everything barbecue, make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and also Northern Cleaning Solutions. So yesterday when I was filming my video, my general update video and about all the stuff that was being said, as I was recording that, the AFL did confirm that it's eligible now for teams to use the first round picks in 26, so this time next year and the year after. So you can access 2 future firsts. I thought like this was always going to happen, and I think it's something that Collingwood is also banking on from our point of view. But I just find it funny, and I need to point this out. I just find it funny that conveniently the AFL makes that call. Then the second later, Geelong make the play for Charlie Curnow. I'm sorry that it's too much of a coincidence. They were holding back and they knew that what was going to happen and they made it final. That's just, why did the AFL come out and say this at the start of the trade period so everybody knew instead of speculating, can they do this, can they do that? They did it. Bang, the Liam Ryan trade was made, yet no worries. And then bang, Geelong straight away able to make a play for Charlie Curnow. Now, I know this is not Collingwood related, but I just need to get my 2 cents out really quickly. If Carlton had half a brain cell, don't take that deal, because if Geelong finish higher up in the ladder, those picks, whether they're for this season, next season, the season after, wherever they are, they're probably going to finish in the top 8. Realistically, they've got a great list, yeah? They made a grand final for a reason this season. Well, the season just passed. Those picks are going to be pushed back most likely towards the back end of the first round. So Carlton supporters getting excited, take the deal by, but this is that. Think, Anyway, let's go to Collingwood. Jy Simpkin. This stuff about Jy Simpkin that's come out. Now, look, I'm going to be honest. Will he fit into Collingwood's team? Very much debatable. That's just from the outgo. If Bo McCreary tries to get a break in the midfield this season, if Josh plays more midfield this season, even if Dan Houston plays more midfield this season, I think he'll probably play more wing, but if he plays more midfield, Harry Perryman takes that inside mid role, which we expected him to do last season. He did little tiny hit outs and stuff throughout the year, especially towards the start. I'm sticking with what we've got. Personal opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own, so make sure you drop a comment and tell me what you think. I would prefer Collingwood not to go down the path of Simpkin or a steal from St Kilda. I would have loved us to get Clayton Oliver to fill that inside mid role and for him to feed it out to Dacos and to running half-backmen and stuff. I thought that would have been phenomenal. With that being said, too, I'm hearing some whispers that Melbourne will probably accept either just a future second or a future third for Clary to get him off their books. So it's a shame because we could have accommodated that easily, especially with the amount of money they're covering. But that was never to be. That's not going to happen now. So we move forward. But obviously, looking at Simpkin, he's probably realistically now the best inside midfielder that can fill the position that we're after that is potentially available. Now, because he's contracted, obviously we have to force a trade. I have absolutely zero idea, and I would love to get your thoughts on how Collingwood is going to facilitate this trade. Because North Melbourne, and I said it in my last video, they've said they're not paying out or they're not paying a portion of his contract. He's a required player there. They want him to pinch hit on the inside of the mid and play more of a wing like he did last season. But Fox Sports are reporting today that he had a bad taste in his mouth from North Melbourne. Fine. But we've got all these mids and half forwards and half backs who are desperate to get into the midfield that I rate better than Jy Simpkin. And this is no disrespect to North or to Jy Simpkin. He's a good player. And if we cop an injury, then he'll be a great replacement. He'll be a great fit, 100%. But I read somewhere yesterday that per year, it's like between $900 to $1.2 million a year for this guy. I mean, that's you're touching Nick Dacos money. Like, no. We're not going to be paying. Well, I don't see this will be a big failure from the club, in my opinion, if we are to progress with this and pay the entire portion of his contract that he's got, I think, until 2029 or some shit like that. This is frustrating. This is annoying because also the other annoying component is the fact that we were going for Oliver and that Melbourne were covering, $700,000 or whatever it was per year of his contract. So, and then, we're turning our attention to Simpkin, which I understand, but I don't agree with. And this happens. So what do we do? Forget the money aspect side of things. What do we do? The club needs to be firm on this and say, look, North, if you're not going to, let's just say, for example, that Lepic and McRae, they want him. They want him. Perfect. Bang. Get him in. Okay. So he's 27. So he's in a good age bracket. I'll give him that. He comes into the side. We have to pay out his whole contract, what he signed for. It affects our books. Okay. I would be very disappointed if the club turned around and gave up a first rounder. Back to the start of the video, we have the access now that the AFL has come out and said that you can access this and you can access the first rounder from 26 and the first rounder from 27. Don't touch it. Do not touch it for Simpkin. North are going to play a hard ball. Give them a future second for next year because we need our picks for the long run with McCarthy and Saxena. We need the points. We need to get them into the side. If you want Simpkin, go for it, but you need to make sure you give up absolute minimum if you are going to be paying the contract. On the flip side, if North Melbourne turn around and say, listen, all right, fine, we'll pay half the contract, then you can bargain with the first round pick. But if you do that, you are jeopardizing what we are trying to muster up for next season, whether it's Humphrey, whether it's Butters, whether it's King from Gold Coast, who knows? You're going to jeopardize it and you're going to make it harder. I don't want to have a year, and I said this in a couple of videos ago, the last video, I don't want to have a year where we're just mediocre and, side bottom Howe and Pendles potentially finish off their careers with a shit season, no finals, or you get knocked out first week of the finals. And we're going 2026 is a year where Collingwood just go through the motions, and then we get the extra picks for the draft, and then we reload with retirements and heaps of salary cap room, and then all these picks. I don't want to do it like that. We are a club that needs to challenge for the premiership every single season, even when we're shit, when we are crap, when we are having a mid-table season like we were in 2024. We need to have times where we compete and we go and we give ourselves the best possible chance. This is why I'm big on the wild card round, because if we do have a season where there'll be cop injuries and stuff like that, on paper, we've still got a good list. We are only this far away from making the grand final and maybe this far away from winning a flag with the current list that we've got. We've got to have momentum towards the end of the season. We've got to have the legs. I get it. Go for these good players. Simpkin, I don't think, is the answer. And if you're going to do it, you've got to do it accordingly. You have to do it in a way it benefits us. Don't clutch the straws and be like, shit, we've got no one. You know, I'll give you an analogy, and I know this is going to offend some people, but to the guys out there that watch this, to the single blokes out there that watch this, I feel as if Collingwood is a good-looking guy who's gone on Tinder. I know this is going to be weird. People are going to laugh at me or whatever. I feel like Collingwood is a good-looking guy that's gone on Tinder, that's come out of a serious relationship, a premiership, and has matched with all these really attractive women, you know, Petrarca, Butters, Curnow, you know, Clary, you know, and none of them are matched. Then you get one that matches in Clary, but they don't respond to you. Then you swipe right on one that's, you know, still okay, and you match with it. Simpkin. That's probably the worst analogy, and I'm sorry if it offends people, but that's how it comes across. We are desperate. It comes across that like we are just trying to get someone. Like, if we go down the path of a Simpkin or a Steele, I don't think we are progressing to the point where we need to be unless the deal is of absolute minimum cost to us and we are still ready to launch into whatever it is that we're cooking behind the scenes, whether it's a late play for somebody this season or the expected big plays for either Humphrey or Butters the year after. Because other clubs are going to go for them, so we have to make sure we have all our ducks in order, all our ducks in a row, you know, salary cap space, picks ready to go, potential trading of players. Because the other thing too is North Melbourne, if we turn around to them and say, listen, if you're not going to pay any of this, we're going to give you a second rounder. What happens then if they turn around and say, okay, well, I'll have a second rounder and a player? What are you going to do then? What are you going to do for a second rounder and a player? It's frustrating. I understand the position the club's in. I understand why we're potentially looking at a Simpkin, but it comes across as if it's the last option and we're a bit desperate. If that's the case, I'd rather keep the salary cap space, work with what we've got, keep the picks for next season, don't touch it. And if anybody wants any players of ours, negotiate with them. Get more picks in. It's probably not going to happen because the rumors keep on going about De Goey, you know, and it's just like Ben Cotton put on Twitter about like De Goey yesterday, and I'm just thinking about St Kilda potentially making a play. Okay, St Kilda wants to make a play. Okay, well, give us 2 first rounders and give us Sinclair if you want De Goey. Well, just play hardball. I know I'm taking the piss when I say that, so don't take it literally like some people took my last video when I was talking about Bobby Hill and, you know, trades and stuff like that. Literally, like I literally said to you guys so many times, I'm using it as a hypothetical. It's frustrating. It's annoying. Simpkin to Collingwood is a real possibility. I get it. I understand it. If he comes to us and he plays well, awesome. But you got to do it so it costs us absolute minimum. Either they take the second rounder, whether it's this year, next year, or whatever, take the second rounder and we'll pay all his contract, or pay half of his contract, and then we can potentially look at a future first. And I'm only saying future first if they were to cover half of his contract. I mean, next year alone, I'm pretty sure I said before, like $900 to $1.2 million a year. Like, cover half of it and potentially a first or future second and a player, and we'll pay all of it. Like, that's like a worst case scenario. Anyway, there's going to be a lot that's going to come out and be said. But the big story of all this is that the AFL have given the green light, the tick of approval, which we all knew was there, and there's already been a trade that's happened with it, that we are able now to access picks from the next 2 drafts ahead, which is really good considering that we gave up our first-round picks for Lockie Schultz and then Dan Houston in that mega trade last year. So that actually doesn't get affected in that rolling 4-year block. It pretty much starts from now. So it is what it is. Let's see what happens today. Make sure you drop your comment. Make sure you tell me what you think. Call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.